All right, here we go on a Friday night. And I texted out or tweeted out Dave Oken. I always screw it up. Dave Oken. So it's like, oh, God damn it.
I'll take it. Yeah, if I'd have had a bad night, I would have preferred that. But I had an okay night, so
Dave Oken.
so get it right.
Okay, I am. Show me some respect, you prick. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
There it is.
All right.
Dave Oken.
I don't know what I was doing.
Let's see if there is a Dave Oken.
Yes,
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
He's got one follower.
No.
Yes, I'm at Dave Oken. Dave Oyede Oken. Following 5 and has one follower. Let's see who the one follower is.
That's awesome.
He's followed by someone with a locked account called PHUNKKY. Funky.
What's up, RJJ?
Okay.
Cofield and Oken.
I'll retweet this anyway.
I'll send out another one with the correct name too. So slow start because Cofield effed up the tweet going out.
Okay.
There's another one with the YouTube link once it goes out. All right, good job. 4-3. That's a lot of games. What are you doing, RJJ? Is that too many games, Dave? 7 in one day?
How many did I have? Let's see. I had an NHL parlay, so that was one bet. I had 2 baseball bets. That's all I had.
You were conservative.
Well, I'm always conservative. I am definitely not a high. I tell people all the time, if you're looking, if you're going to buy a service and you're looking for high volume, you don't want me.
Have you met anyone who really makes it work with high volume?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to have, to do that, you either have to have a large bankroll to make any decent money, because depending on how much you want to risk. But no, there's a lot. The math guys are mostly high volume because they're just playing edges, and they're perfectly content to hit just a little bit of what it takes to earn a net profit, and they do very well playing high volume. I can't play that way. That's just not the way I do things. Doesn't work for me. I cringe when I come up with a day where I've got like 5 or 6 games that I like because I won't play them all. And so then I'm fine tuning and throwing out games wherever I can. And sometimes I regret it. I had one tonight. I wish I'd have played it. I like the Blue Jays. Like the way Robbie Ray threw in his last game, and he went out and threw real well tonight, and that would have been a winner. But on the other hand, there's plenty of games that I like that I end up scratching, and they would have lost. So,
yeah. What do you think of Ray tonight, and what do you think of the Blue Jays?
Listen, if they fixed Robbie Ray, they become a real threat in that division because that guy's got swing and miss stuff. And his problem has always been walks. But his last 2 starts, he's had tremendous control. I didn't see the final numbers tonight, but through his first 72 pitches tonight, he had 54 strikes. That's real good. And with his stuff, you're going to get good results when he does that. And sometimes it's just the coach.
I will say I do love the way Robbie Ray pitches when they've got the mic.
He's into it.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Just wrong arm. He's awesome.
The Blue Jays are getting really interesting because they looks like they might have a staff, and they've got some good young offense there. And that division's starting to look like it's going to be quite a bit of fun because outside of the Orioles, and even the Orioles are playing hard at least, but they're clearly the worst team. The other 4 teams, that could be a hell of a horse race. I mean, it might fall apart, and the Yankees might run away with things, but it doesn't look like it right now. Tampa's going to be in the mix. The Red Sox are clearly a better team than they were a year ago by a lot, and the Blue Jays are a live sleeper right now.
What about Matz?
He looks good. His last start wasn't good, but Matz is a guy, and I think I might have mentioned this on one of the Wager Talk baseball shows. Matz might be one of those guys who, hometown guy, had a lot of pressure on him to perform. in New York City. A lot of pressure, more so than guys who come in from elsewhere who might be bigger names because of the fact that he was a hometown guy. And now he's out of the spotlight. And he looks like a different pitcher. So he might be one of those guys who thrives away from the Big Apple. I hope so, because that's, that spotlight's that glare from that spotlight can be pretty severe at times.
Did you take the Reds today?
Yeah, first 5 playing the Reds. And that
Why?
worked out. It fit the formula that I use. It had the check marks. So did the Angels first 5, and that didn't work. Haney was not good at all tonight. And Joe Madden left him in too long, which Joe Madden has a tendency to do. And it's just one of those. Sometimes it's a game of inches. Angels, Pujols hit two balls to the wall that both got caught. One was a really nice catch. Could have been homers. Rendon hit one off the wall that I thought was going off the bat. It's the way it goes sometimes. But so I lost a little in baseball because that was a bigger play, and it was minus 150. But I hit the parlay in the NHL, which I do 2-team parlays when I like 2 big favorites, or at least one big favorite. I don't like risking a lot, so I wanted the Avalanche tonight. I wasn't prepared to lay almost $3. I like the Kings as well. They fit a system that I have been using all season. Kings made a nice comeback to get there. I didn't think I was going to win it, but I did, and that was about plus 150. So I got out of the night with a small profit, and I'll take it. It's been a good run.
Nice, real nice. Back to the Reds and the Cubs. Boy, the Cubs. I thought they were coming out of it, and no. And then Arrieta was just terrible today.
He wasn't good, and the Reds just kill teams at home with their offense. They are becoming a big home road split team where they're just mashing the ball at home, and it's mental at this point. They don't think anybody can get them out at home, and then they go on the road, and the bats turn into mush.
Yep.
So that's the way some teams go. And so you play those trends, look to play on the Reds at home, play against them on the road.
What do you do with this guy for like the next 3-4 start scenes? Probably good prices, right? He's been dynamite so far. And
actually not that good of prices.
No?
No.
What was he like
the market catches up in a hurry. He was a dog tonight at Oakland, but not a big dog at all. If you just pick, the starting pitching definitely figured into the price there. Do I have? Let me check the price on that game. Full game. The full game. Oakland was closed minus 130, and the first 5, which is what you kind of want if you're betting John Means, you had to lay 105 or 110 with Baltimore. So that tells you how much starting pitching is factored into the line, but with good reason, because Means is pitching tremendous baseball, and he's got a heck of a changeup. When he's commanding his stuff, he's pretty good.
Alex was asking about the White Sox month in.
Well, I think they are what we thought they were going to be. They can mash. And if the pitching holds up, they're going to be a decent team. And they're in a bad division.
Rodon.
That division stinks. Rodon has been great.
Holy crap. Imagine if he can go out and, by today's standards, give him 160, 170 innings.
Oh.
Holy
cow. I don't
cow.
know if they'll give him that much, but boy, he's Cy Rodon right now. He's definitely in the mix for that award. He's been great. That division's terrible. Twins aren't much. Indians can't hit. Royals are probably a year or two away. And, the Tigers, God, they're bad.
I know. I asked you last week. I'm like, where? I don't see the sign. There's some pitching, but I don't see the signs in their lineup. It's like a bunch of quadruple A guys.
Yeah, they're a long ways off.
Damn. Twins coming out of it at all. It doesn't look like it right now. I mean, today they had a good game.
They'll be okay. A lot of it's going to depend on whether they can fix the bullpen, though. It's been a big problem for them so far this season. They took Colomé out of the closer role, so we'll see how that goes. But if you can't finish games, and they've had They've got a really bad record in one-run games and late inning decisions. They're going to have to fix that, or they're going to be one of those teams that falls short of expectations. I think the White Sox will win the division.
Well, you would think they've got so much upside with the pitching. So much upside.
Yep. And now the kid they got for the Red Sox, Kopech, he's finding it, and he's got a great arm. So the starting pitching looks like it's going to be pretty good there.
I got to admit on that one, I was annoyed that the White Sox bailed a couple of years ago when they were kind of around a 500 team. They could have added, maybe gotten back to like 85 wins. They just said scrap it, and man, most of the guys they traded for have all come through or are about to come through.
Yeah, look, the sale deal worked for both teams. Red Sox won a World Series. White Sox got themselves a very talented guy in Kopech who got held up a little bit with illness, and maybe he wasn't completely together upstairs, but he looks like that's been solved. And Moncada still has we haven't seen the best of him yet.
All right. So what did you see with the Knights tonight?
Terrible flat spot, and they played that way. Should have bet the Arizona side. I just couldn't do it because the Coyotes didn't know if they'd be hanging their heads off two really bad losses to San Jose that pretty much ended their playoff hopes. And so I wasn't convinced they were going to show up. But if the Knights were going to have a bad game, this was it. Get it out of the way. You don't need to win every game. They won the game they really needed the other night against Colorado. And unless they shit the bed, they're going to win the division. And then the real stuff begins because Colorado boy, are they good. Oh, man. The problem for the Knights in that series, if it happens, is the Knights are a transition team. And the Avalanche are faster than they are, which takes away their transition. I think Colorado beats them in a best of 7, but it won't be easy. And you're going to have Fleury, I think, playing all those games, and he's just been phenomenal.
Really?
Guys been just absolutely. Yeah, I think Fleury's playing every game. Well, maybe not the first series.
Oh wow!
But I think once they get to Colorado, if they survive the first round, and they're playing Colorado in the second round, I think Fleury's in goal for every game.
All right.
He's just that's not a slam on Leonard, who's a really good goalie, but Fleury has a chance to win the Vezina. And he's just been so good. And he's got the cups, okay? He's going let's put it this way, he's going to the Hall of Fame. Leonard isn't. So it's not taking away anything from Leonard because he's a hell of a goalie. But I know I want Fleury in goal for the biggest games. And my guess is that DeBoer wants Fleury in goal for the biggest games as well. And so do the rest of the team.
What does the chat room want? What do you guys think? Because we've been back and forth on this so much during the season because of absences, especially with Leonard. And Brady firing back saying of the 3 cups he won, Maff only in the net for one of the finals.
Well, that's still one more than the other guy. And let's face it, he's been pretty good in the playoffs for the Golden Knights, hasn't he? It's not Fleury isn't the reason they didn't win any cups the first 3 years.
How big is the top seed? How big is the division win?
Well, you got home ice, which for the Knights I think is important because I assume we're going to have more people in the stands, and it is one of the legit home ice advantages in the NHL. It's one of the big ones. I mean, that place is just insane, and they feed off that energy. But you got to get to that series first. The Blues are playing their best hockey this season now. I think the Knights are a better team, but you can't assume anything. And Minnesota, for whatever reason, has given this team fits. I don't even know why. Because actually, I mean, when I look at the matchup, it's like, that's a team the Knights really should handle. They're bigger, they're faster, and they can get their transition game going against the Wild, and they, for some reason, can't have trouble doing it. But I got to tell you, I don't think Minnesota's beaten them 4 times if they meet in the playoffs.
Gil the Thrill says Fleury for sure. So far, we've gotten all Fleury from everyone who answered. Leonard can be great, but Fleury can be dominant when at his best.
And I do think there's something to this. Look, I'm not in the locker room. I I can't say, but the Knights, in my opinion, as an observer, they play with more confidence offensively when Fleury's in goal. They're willing to take more chances offensively and really push. I don't think they're quite that daring when Leonard's in goal. And that's just my eye test observation, and I might be crazy, but that's just the sense I get.
Man, it's so crazy though how this division's played.
Oh, it's a
And
good division.
the Knights. Well, the Knights have put up this incredible record, and it's like they can't, they can't get any freaking distance against the other teams.
Well, you get it's a division where the quality is all at the top, and the bottom of the division stinks. So everybody beats up on those teams, and look, I think you've got two of the three best teams in the league. You might have the two best teams in the league in the division. You make a strong argument that the two best teams are the Avalanche and the Golden Knights. And it's a shame one of them is going to get knocked out pretty early. But that's the way it goes.
Yep. George says DC's right. Team seems more confident with Marc-Andre Fleury. Yep. Rick, too. Fleury, unless he's down 0-2.
Well, again, that, if he has a couple of bad games, that changes things. But, that would be out of character because you can count the number of bad games he's had this season on less than one hand. He's maybe had, 2 or 3 bad games all season where he let in maybe more than one bad goal. I mean, that's phenomenal. That's the type of performance that wins you a Vezina. I think he should get it.
Which would be incredible, since so many people here are like, he's done. Move him, trade him.
I was not one of those people.
And then Foley said, no, let's not do that.
Yeah. One thing you can say about the Golden Knights, they know what they're doing. This is really, and I know they had some advantages that most expansion teams don't have because of the way the draft was set up, but they still made the most of it. They made some good deals. I mean, that brain trust at the top, as far as their hockey knowledge is concerned, it's as good as it gets. McPhee might not be the most media-friendly guy, but does that really matter to the fans? I don't think so. I don't think they give a shit whether he has anything to say to the media or not. Team wins games. They're fun to watch. You know that they're going to do whatever it takes to try and take that next step. That's all you could ask, isn't it?
I love it. I love following what the Knights do because they're ruthless is probably the wrong word, but very Belichickian.
Yeah.
In terms of year to year, if it ain't working, loyalty be damned. We're moving forward. Our goal is to win. If you want to win, then don't get upset that we bring in another goalie for Fleury. Don't get upset that some of the misfits go bye-bye. Don't get upset that Gallant doesn't match our style and he's gone a year and a half in. Too bad.
Yeah. The idea is to win. And that's basically, they're 4 years in. That's all they've done. It's from that standpoint, they're doing something that no team in any sport has ever done. There's never been an expansion team that's had this kind of success. It's amazing.
And by the way,
they did have a slightly, the setup was different, but they still had to make the most of it. And I thought, going back to when they first came on the ice. I still remember the very first game they bet. I bet against them at Dallas, lost that game, and then bet against them the next game, lost that game as well. And it's like, how is this team, even 2 games in, it's like, why are they this good?
Why do they look this good? I know.
They were supposed to be terrible. And I learned that lesson in a hurry and have gotten that money back since.
RJJ says, I hope Seattle has the same success. I think a lot of Golden Knights fans hope they don't because they don't want to make it look that easy. But I agree with Dave. They won't.
No. Well, first of all, they're not going to have quite the same playing field the Golden Knights did. I'm not going to get into all the technical stuff, but it's not going to be quite as easy for them to put together a team as the Golden Knights were. But we'll see what happens. The brain trust there looks like it's pretty sharp. Yeah. And we'll see what happens. There's a lot of good players that are going to be available. And interestingly enough, one of them might be the backup goalie for the Golden Knights. I mean, it's possible. I don't know what they're going to do there.
Actually, I think if I'm correct on this, isn't the deal that Foley cut? Aren't the Knights exempt from the draft?
Oh, is that right? I forgot. I didn't even realize that.
Yes. Not only did they,
how nice is that? Well, I guess
in the sweetheart setup, they're like, "Hey, our roster is exempt." I'm pretty sure. Yep, there it is. Yeah, Brady saying it. Yeah, we've talked about it.
Okay,
Before.
I forgot. I either forgot or didn't know that. Well, I guess they don't have to worry about losing a goaltender.
Exactly. Yep. And then, as Gil the Thrill says, don't have to expose any players. And the other thing is, and we've talked about this many times on the show, McPhee played a lot of guys around the league, a lot of management around the league for just fools because they didn't know how to handle the expansion draft. Now they've learned that they don't have to freaking just give away players and picks to the Kraken. So it's a totally different game this time. So Adam's here.
By the way, I'll say this. I think the NHL is thrilled that things worked out the way they did for the Golden Knights. This is a good franchise for the league.
Of course. Frankly, every league when they do expansion, should be interested in at least having their new teams competitive. Of course, baseball will fuck it up. Manfred has no clue. So when they do expansion, the teams will come in and be limping in, winning 55 games for 5 years and kill their fan base. So what's up, Adam? What's going on?
Not much. How you guys doing?
How are you doing? You look like. What time did you get up?
Early.
It's funny. Our buddy Tom Mikovits stopped by. I was actually at the Battleborn Studios today, and he came over to check out the studios. And Tom's like, "Hey, you think Adam's gonna come by tonight to check out the basketball game?" And I looked at Tom. I'm like, "Tom, it's the NFL draft." I'm like, first of all, he's covering it tonight. Secondly, I don't think he slept last night. So Thursday and a Friday, like he ain't going to cover the semi-pro basketball league. He's going to get there eventually. He's not going to be there tonight.
Dude, I've been. This is the first home game I missed. Yeah, I did miss it. I wanted to go. There was no chance. I mean, you're right. There's no way. I just got a text from a friend of mine that was like, "Hey, like I've seen you like all over the place this week. Like you need to get out. Like you need to go out tonight." I was like, "Fuck no." Are you kidding me? First of all, I have to pre-write a couple stories for tomorrow. I think I have 6 tomorrow to do on the final day of the draft. So I'm gonna try to get
stories.
I'm gonna try to get 2 of them done tonight, and then we're doing a lot of TV stuff. Actually, I think we're on right now. If anybody has Cox Cable Channel 14, but we're taping all those. We're going live on every pick. Trying to write in between. I wrote about the Texans today. I thought that was the biggest story of the draft. So I was on the Nick Casario call, which was very interesting. But I'm like, I'm just running on fumes basically. I just told you I had to delay because I had to go get food. I haven't eaten in 2 days. So I was like, I gotta go get food right now. But yeah, I'm not complaining. It's exhausting.
I mean, a stupid question to ask, and this is a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Since Aaron Rodgers, he clearly wants out of Green Bay.
Yeah.
And Deshaun Watson is not going to play anymore for the Houston Texans. Why don't they just trade him for each other?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, why not?
It's not stupid. It's interesting. I don't like. Does that work for the Texans? Because
they're not going to have Watson anymore. Watson's not going to play there anymore.
No, but I think even with Rodgers, as crazy as this is, I think they suck even with Rodgers.
Well, so, it depends on what Rodgers thinks.
Sure, but I mean,
if Rodgers thinks they've got a chance, I think he'll go anywhere where he thinks he's got a chance to get to a Super Bowl. I don't think he's going to go to a couple of teams that I don't think he's going to want to go to. And Rodgers isn't being a bitch. He's not. Look, I said this after the playoff loss. First of all, they insulted the shit out of him with the Jordan Love pick, which was a horrible selection. Okay. You don't waste a first-round pick. It's 2020. You don't waste a first-round pick on a quarterback who's not going to play. And then the decision by LaFleur at the end of the playoff loss, which Rodgers absolutely hated. I said, and I caught a lot of flack on this on Twitter, because I wrote right after that I think he might have played his last down in Green Bay. And I'm sticking with that. I don't think he's going to be there.
No, I think it makes sense. I mean, he can control. Obviously, he has some say over where he goes, and I don't think at this age he wants to go there. And that wasn't on Yoko Woodley's list of desired cities, so he's not going to be going there. Like she's
Now, wait a second.
deciding.
Do we actually believe? Do we actually believe she's a Ciara? That she's deciding the cities?
Yoko.
Yoko Woodley. yeah. She's deciding she wants to go back to the West Coast, be closer to Hollywood. Like she's like, hey, this is what we're doing. That's what she's part of it.
Well, then he wants to go to the Rams, evidently, right? Or the Chargers. The Chargers.
Raiders.
Chargers have their quarterback, so they're not. He's not going there. The Rams do not have their quarterback, and the Raiders. Well, I would think that they would like Rodgers. Not that Carr's horrible, but it would be an upgrade.
Yeah, I don't know what the Raiders. I don't know what the package of picks and players the Raiders would give up. Like I don't know what the Packers would want. I've heard it's 3 first-rounders. If I'm the Raiders, yeah, okay, sure, I guess.
Yeah.
But listen, there is a factor. Like as crazy as this is, and as much as I think Aaron Rodgers is amazing, he's old. Like if your team is not ready to win in the next 2 or 3 years, why would you trade for him? Why would you mortgage the future to trade for him if you're not a team that's on the verge of potentially winning? The Broncos are.
But there's one other thing is that he said he wants to keep playing. He wants to do the Brady thing and keep playing. He said that.
Right.
Yeah, but he's almost Brady's age.
No, he's
37 going on 38.
He's 37.
All right. So Brady's what? 83?
42, I think, yeah.
Well, that's 5 years.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big difference.
Yeah. But I mean, you at some point it is going to turn. I said that with Brady too. It did. He changed his style, luckily for him. But yeah, I think you're in a spot where if you're the Raiders, how much better are you? I think you're better.
Oh no, I think
better.
you're way better.
You're a lot better. You're
way better.
Super Bowl contender, even with the defense being crap.
But from his perspective, like the Broncos are much closer. Him on the Broncos with those weapons on offense and that defense,
right?
Like they're right there.
But they're not right there because as much as we dislike at times Gruden and game management, Vic Fangio is a nightmare.
Oh my God.
He's a defensive coordinator who has no idea what he's doing with clock management, game management. They're not as close as you think. Fangio is the problem.
No, Rodgers would be the player coach at that point. He's going to take over.
Yeah, well, I guess. I mean, if I'm the Raiders, I offer him the moon.
And would they take Carr and 2 firsts?
I hope so.
I saw one of the most ridiculous comments, and I know I probably undervalue running backs because I think they don't matter at all. But somebody's like, they can have any player they want except for Josh Jacobs. And I was like, you're an idiot.
He's the first guy to go.
Walk Josh Jacobs to Green Bay.
How dangerous is Rodgers with the Raiders set of receivers? Ooh.
I would take the Broncos receivers over the Raiders, though.
What's that?
I'd take the Broncos receivers over the Raiders receivers.
No.
Well, I don't know because the Raiders, the Broncos haven't had anybody to get them the ball.
Right, but
So I guess you can make that
Cortland
point.
Sutton is really good. Jerry Jeudy was really good last year, except for a couple drops at the end of the year.
Henry Ruggs would be thrown to by Rodgers.
Oh yeah,
sure.
He would be he'd be a different player.
He would. But Judy's better than Ruggs.
Don't you think Rodgers? I mean, not for nothing. I mean, obviously he can play in cold weather, but I have a feeling he'd like to go someplace where it's nice and warm for most of the games.
Sure, in a
Why
dome.
not?
Yeah.
It's better conditions.
Yeah.
And Las Vegas, I mean, he would be nothing against Denver. It's a great town, but Rodgers in Las Vegas, because he's already got kind of that showbiz attitude and desire. I think he's just a perfect fit out here or LA.
By the way, I love this. That Rodgers can take a pay cut if he wants weapons. Yeah, okay. Pat Mahomes isn't taking a pay cut, and they keep adding weapons. So it can be done. I'm telling you, man. If Green Bay fans turn on Aaron Rodgers if he is gone, oh man, I just like you guys already. I don't think I can dislike a fan base more than the Packer fan base. If they turn on Aaron Rodgers after all the bullshit he's been through with the Packer management.
How many catches does the tight end? The guy's already one of the best in the league. Might be the best in the league at tight end. Well, not the best, but he's close. Oh, how many catches does he have with Rodgers on the field?
Yeah. And by the way, the comment about Josh Jacobs is not against Josh Jacobs. I think Josh Jacobs is a really good running back. I'm just saying, if the Packers were like, hey, we're going to need Josh Jacobs in a deal for Aaron Rodgers,
okay,
yes. The answer is yes. For sure.
Nothing against Josh, but yeah.
No, I think he's really good. And by the way, if it was Carr and Jacobs in 2 firsts, if that was the deal, first of all, I would say yes. But also, you're reuniting Carr with Devontae Adams. It's what he's always wanted. It's good for him, too.
Come on, Raiders. Let's go. Pick up the phone. Make him a big offer. And the Packers are kind of stuck because he didn't want to be there anymore. And that's you don't want to go into the season with someone who doesn't want to be there as the main guy.
Well, I
will tell you that if he's still there, and I could lose the bet by a mile, but if he's still there, give me the under on the Packers win total.
Well, I don't foresee him being there. I think it's a game of chicken. He's just going to say that I'm not playing. If you're not trading me, I'm not playing. I'll go whatever, host Jeopardy or whatever.
Go host Jeopardy. If they don't want him, he can host The Price is Right or something. Yeah.
And it's going to be a game of chicken because if you're the Packers, you don't want to trade him because you're not going to get fair value for Aaron Rodgers. It's not going to happen. But at the same time, if he's just going to quit, then what is he worth to you? Nothing. Then you have nothing, and you didn't get any draft picks for the future.
Well,
so
he
does have the power.
And I don't think he'd quit. I think he'd sit out.
Right.
And then he'd be back because the contract will be ending. And he'll come back with a year off and go play wherever he wants as a free agent. So you better get something for him, Packers. Because he's going to be gone.
Yeah. Before he pigeonholes you into one spot. And by the way, again, truth, Rodgers actually could go somewhere else, take a pay cut, and make 15 or 20 million doing – what is it? How many weeks, Brady, does Jeopardy tape for? Nothing, right? Make 15 million doing that. There's the money. There is no, for anyone who's anti-Rodgers, there is no other side. I'm sorry. Or there is no one on your side. You're not, he's got all the leverage. He can do whatever he wants. And as these guys just said, sit out.
Yeah.
Sit out. Take a year off. Force their hand.
That's what I would advise him to do, and he doesn't need my advice. I can guarantee you that.
No.
He's a pretty smart guy.
Well, here's the whole point is they shouldn't accept 50 cents on the dollar. They have a chance to actually get some value back, but learn the lesson, from say like the Houston Rockets when James Harden told them, I'm done. Don't wait another 2 months. You don't have control. Certain players do. Certain athletes do.
It's all the Packers' fault to begin with. Jordan Love. Jordan Love might become a great quarterback. I don't know. We'll see what the future holds. But that was a complete slap in the face to Rodgers. You got a team. If they were a bad team and said, "All right, well, Rodgers is getting on. We need to draft our next quarterback." Okay, but they're a team that were in Super Bowl contention. You don't waste a first-round draft pick on a future prospect when you're that close to the Super Bowl. You got to go out there and get a player who fits the system. And instead, they draft a guy. And then this year, I'm not saying the guy they drafted is a good player, but really, you took a cornerback in the first round? Gee, that's just what Rodgers wanted, I'm sure. It's just they keep on throwing garbage in his face. What do you expect them to do? So,
by the way, Adam, didn't the Raiders took, in Leatherwood, they took a guy who was probably supposed to go 35, 40, 45. The Packers, yeah, maybe. I saw him rated 72 on one board.
He's out of Alabama, so he can play.
We'll see. We could say the same thing about Bruggs right now. I don't know. The guy the Packers took, the cornerback from Georgia, wasn't as over. What did they take him at 20? Whatever they had. What was their pick? 26, 27?
Yeah.
Wasn't his over under like 45 on the draft boards?
I didn't see his prop. I thought he was he
actually was 45 and a half.
I thought he was first half of the second round kind of guy.
Right.
He was just outside the first round.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of baffling teams out there for sure.
So, Dave, I cut you off. Go with that argument. The hey, Saban says he's good. He's from Alabama. He can play.
Well, I mean, there's something to be said for guys who know how to win. I guess that's what it comes down to. If you play at Alabama, you know how to win. I mean, you're coming out of you're showing up with championship rings already. It's a great entry into the NFL. They're not all going to be stars, but I think it goes into what teams think about in the NFL when they see Clemson or Alabama next to a guy's name. It's like, okay. I mean, you're bringing in a guy who's got a winning attitude to begin with.
I know, but the problem is they've picked Bama and Clemson players, and the early returns on some of them haven't been great. I mean, Tanner Muse, I'm not going to write him off, but he was a non-factor. John Simpson looks like he was overdrafted. I mean, I think they would have expected John Simpson to be ready this year, right? To be in the guard mix, and he's clearly
this coming year,
right? This coming season, he's clearly not.
No, he's not.
He's not.
By the way, they just got a new Tanner Muse. By the way, like Divine Diablo is Tanner Muse.
You don't think he has more upside?
He might have more upside, but they're asking him to do the same thing. They're asking him to make a transition that I don't know a lot of people think he can make, and he's a guy that like the analysis on him was, hey, really good college safety, way too big and slow to play it in the NFL. He's going to have to move to linebacker. Does this sound familiar? Really, really good special teams player, and is willing to do that at the NFL level. Same guy. He's the same guy. And so whatever they thought they had in Tanner Muse, now they take another project in Divine Diablo who maybe he turns out to be good, but it is the same problem they had last year with Muse.
There's been some, and I don't know, you should have a better answer to this. Is there there's rumor that, Twitter.
Yeah.
Who knows what's fact, what's fiction. But is there any truth to the rumors that are flying that there might be some changes in the Raider organization because some people are not on the same page?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised by it. I know that my colleague Vinny Bonsignor had a pretty immediate rebuttal from within the organization of like, what is this rumor about? Like, we have no idea. There's no problems here. If it does, I'd be surprised. Only because, well, should say this. I wouldn't be surprised, but it's one person is running everything. Like there's no friction, there's no power struggle. Like everybody understands that it's a one-man show. So like, what is the friction? To me, it would be if something does happen, it's a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. Because if one person is in charge of all the decisions, he has final say over everything. Well, what are you upset about? I think it was. Did I hear Adam Kennedy maybe say it earlier today? Did Gruden pick up the phone to make a pick and Mayock like stole the phone out of his hand and said, no, we're taking this guy? Like, no. Like there's only one decision maker. So
I could definitely see if the source of a leak that there's friction. I could definitely see like a couple of scouts, personnel people are annoyed, but they have power. They have no power. So that doesn't mean I forgot what the question was on the website was like. Wasn't it like Leatherwood last straw? Like last straw for who?
Right.
Mark Davis. What was your line today about John Gruden that basically he's coach for life?
Yeah, the contract essentially says John Gruden's coach. He got a 10-year, $100 million contract. What are you doing? You're paying $60 million to walk away? Like, it's insane. He's the coach as long as he wants to be the coach. And so, like, this whole thing, it's crazy to me. Now, I'm not saying nothing's going to happen, but if something happens, it's because Gruden made the decision for something to happen. Like, if Mark Davis comes to Gruden and says, hey, look, I gave you this contract. Something's not working here. Somebody has to go. Well, okay, that's possible too, I guess. But it's Gruden's job as long as he wants it, and he's got the final decision making on everything. Got the final say on all decisions. So that whole thing doesn't make sense to me.
So then, let's take it a step further because we know Gruden has always been all about QBs. If he's got nobody to say no to him, He's going to offer the moon to Green Bay, isn't he?
I would think so.
Good.
He doesn't. He doesn't
does.
hate. He doesn't hate Carr. Like
No,
I think
but
that's kind of.
I think he knows that Carr's not winning him any titles.
right.
He
Carr
just
is
isn't.
Carr, and I've said this before about other teams. Like Carr puts you in a really bad place because he's too good, but not good enough.
Right. He's
Like-
he's the ultimate number 15 quarterback.
Yeah.
And
And
he's the guy.
which is-
If you're drawing up a list of the 32 best quarterback or the 32 quarterbacks, there's Carr right at number 15. Okay.
Whoa.
Give or
11.
give or take a spot.
11 or 9, 10. Be careful. Raider Nation could be watching. 15.
That's
I-
not
I've
bad.
always-
That means he's slightly in the upper half of the league, which is not a bad thing. But in a quarterback centric league, it's not a real good thing either.
Yeah, I think I would put him like especially last year. I think he was like 12th,
Okay.
somewhere like that.
Fine.
But you're right.
I just picked a number out of the
taken.
12
No,
is fine.
Point taken. What you're saying is absolutely true. Like there's very, very few people on the planet that could do the job better. There's like 10 guys.
Right.
And if you don't get one of those 10 guys, you're screwed. But you have to find somebody that's like you can't move on from him until you find somebody that's better. But it's really, really hard to find somebody better, which is a tough place for a franchise to be in. So I just think they're in a tough spot.
It's just the way the rules are set up in the NFL. You got to have a good quarterback, a really good quarterback. And all you got to do is look at the recent Super Bowl winners. I mean,
Who's
there's
first?
going to be an exception to the rule. Nick Foles obviously comes to mind. There are exceptions to the rule, but basically, you better be real strong at that number 1 spot.
There's 2 ways to win a title now. It's Hall of Fame quarterback or quarterback on his rookie deal. Very good quarterback on a rookie deal, where you can just load up every other position and compete by having a guy on his rookie deal. And by the way, the Chiefs the last couple of years had both. A Hall of Fame quarterback on a rookie deal, which is why they were able to do so much of what they did. And Steve, that offer is ridiculous.
A lot of future guys.
You're just throwing names.
You got Brandon Parker, who's been, held back. You got Kuntz, who Mayock compared to Yannick Ngakoue. You got Abram, who's a linebacker. You got Diablo, who's a linebacker. You got Furl. If you move him inside, he's an all-pro defensive tackle. You got Derek Carr, quarterback. You got Javen White, special teamer, and probably another great. You got 3 starting linebackers right there.
Okay,
And
that's fine. I feel like they're gonna get this offer and be like, wait, okay, I love Javen White, but okay, why is this practice squad guy included in this trade offer? You've got a 3rd round pick.
Dave knows this from growing up. Well, there wasn't a ton of sports radio when Dave was growing up, but when sports radio
There was
around,
basically it wasn't even radio.
it was like, well, yeah, it was like, but this would be this would be like a Yankees fan offer for whoever the Cy Young winner was. It would be like every crappy quadruple A Yankee guy to get the Cy Young winner to come to the Yankees. So there you go. Packers
what?
will take that.
The Red Sox actually made a couple of those
Actually-
deals with the Yankees. I mean, they sent him Sparky Lyle for Danny Cater. Jesus Christ. I'm still pissed about that trade.
To take LB Pickle Gamers line, yeah, why don't you throw in Ryan Reeves and Aisha Wilson? We'll just just like here, take
That's funny.
2 people from the tourism committee from the LVCVA. You got anybody you want here?
Well,
Terry Fader, is he still around? I don't know.
there you go. Steve from Jersey giving Art Rust his Raiders trade offer. There you go. All right. So, all right.
All
So,
right,
Adam,
if we're setting betting odds, Adam, where who is the favorite to have Aaron Rodgers playing for them in 2021, including the Packers? Would the Packers put them in?
I mean, I think. Well, here's the thing. We talk about this all the time. I love it. It depends how the prop is written, right? What roster is he on? Week 1. Packers have to be the favorite. Where does he take his next snap? Different prop. I mean, I think he's the favorite to be on the Packers roster. I think at this point it'd be really tough to imagine him actually playing for the Packers. I mean, they said last night if you watch the press conference that they had, it was like, we're not trading him. We're keeping him around. We have some bridges to mend. Like we've got some relationship building to do. So they clearly are admitting like there's an issue. It's not like they're saying this is all media driven. They're conceding that there's a problem. So yeah, I think it's going to be really tough to envision him taking a snap with Green Bay to start 2021. But they're probably the favorite. I would say Denver is close. It sounded like last night Aaron Rodgers was texting with Mark Schlereth, who was on radio or on TV at the time, just saying like, "Hey, I'm coming. Like this is happening." And like when they picked a corner in the first round, he was like, "Well, that's a pick for Green Bay. They're trading. That's part of the deal." Like he's basically like telling what's happening. So we'll see how it goes. I'm sure the Raiders, they keep being in the mix. There was reports out of Louisville tonight that Aaron Rodgers was telling people down at the Kentucky Oaks that he's not playing for Green Bay. He's either going to play for Denver or the Raiders next year. So
cool.
We'll see how that works out. But I don't know what the deal would be.
For those who there were some comments about the dollars involved. If he sits, he's got to forfeit a ton of salary and bonus money. You know how much money Aaron Rodgers is worth? Holy shit. I mean, these quarterbacks are – Patrick Mahomes has only been in the league a few years. He now is a part owner of a Major League Baseball team.
Right.
Is this a driving force? Shailene Woodley's like, I'm never going back to Green Bay again.
First of all, Joe, it's Yoko Woodley. We've already decided that.
All right.
We already said that.
Exactly. State Farm can make up the gap. He'll be okay.
So does Jeopardy.
He's a talented guy, and he's clearly got his next career in mind. He's going to be very visible on TV or the movies. He's either an actor or a game show host or who knows what. But he's he might tell Tony Romo, "Hey, I want your job," and CBS will say, "Okay." Nothing against Romo, but it's Aaron Rodgers. So I don't think he's worried about money. Okay.
And as Adam said on the bet, if it's on which roster is he on, that's one thing, but where does he take his first snap? That's a different bet.
Yeah, I could see him reporting to training camp if they don't trade him. And first drop back of training camp, that's the hamstring. Sorry. I got to go take a seat now. Hamstring
Does he even
hurt.
report?
I would do that. I would just pretend I got hurt. Why not? By the way, since we just brought up Jeopardy, this might be just because I'm exhausted and kind of silly. I was watching some old Concentration, the game show.
Yes, I remember the original with Hugh Downs as the host.
Well, Trebek took over. Like I was watching Trebek episodes.
Was he nice? Was he nice?
I gotta tell you, little creepy. Not to speak ill of the departed Alex Trebek, R.I.P. Love the guy. Little creepy though on the I think it was the '80s, late '80s, maybe early '90s. Concentration. Yeah, a little bit, I mean, not quite Me Too-ish, but a little creepy.
He was fired up. He's virile at that point. The fact that the Raiders, so they took Leatherwood. A lot of people are pissed off. Hey, value, that's stupid. Trade back. The fact that they got their safety, right? According to Vinny, one of the highest guys on the board, Trayvon Merrick. The fact that they got Merrick and they got Leatherwood, all good? I saw a lot of the Raiders media people are like, you happy now? You got both. Good, right?
Well, I mean, it still means you could have taken a different tackle. You could have taken Darisaw and got Merrick. Like that'd be better. That'd be better. I mean, definitely better. Yeah. There would be a lot less questions if they would have taken Merrick in the first round, and when a lot of people expect him to go. And again, this is the game that's always played every year of what the mocks say, what the analysts say, and what the actual teams are saying. Because Merrick was projected as a first round pick, nobody would have raised an eyebrow, but you could have had him later. And a lot of that's medicals, by the way.
Right. He slipped because he was hurt. Do you believe that Leatherwood was going in the first round to someone?
No.
You haven't heard any team that had Leatherwood first or early second. Maybe early second.
No, because I think a lot of teams wanted to move him to guard, and you're not taking a guard at that spot. You're taking, guards fall for the most part. And I think most teams projected him as a guard. And the Raiders looked at him and said, we want him to be a tackle. But I think there's some questions that he has against speed rushers. I think there's some questions that we have about, playing with too wide of a base. Now, maybe, from what they said last night, Tom Cable was like, hey, I can work with that guy. But are we just conceding that it's a project? Like, I can work with him? Like, what does that mean?
With the 17th pick.
Yeah. And again, this is weird. And I know it's tough to understand the differences between the pro game and the college game, whatever. Leatherwood was the top lineman in the country. Like, he was. Yeah. And, he won that award for a reason because, he was really, really good. But there's a difference between playing at the pro level and the college level. And there's also a difference between playing on the Alabama line where all 5 guys are going to the NFL and you can work together to block defensive fronts that are very overmatched and then go to the NFL where everybody is elite. That's a different animal. And if you watch the tape, you see that there's speed rushers that give them a lot of trouble. Guess what? Everyone in the NFL is a speed rusher.
Right.
Like, they're all over the place. So good luck to you.
Yeah.
And there's definitely questions. Like I said, a lot of teams want to move him to guard, and then you fall down, and you wouldn't have taken him as a guard at that spot, I don't think. But the Raiders said no, he's our starting right tackle. Okay, but again, it's not a problem. It is still a problem to reach, but in the end, nobody's going to care that it was a reach if he's really, really good. You should care. Because if you reached, it's bad value, and that's what you need to worry about. But if he's really good, nobody's going to care. Colton Miller is looked at as a reach. He's been pretty good. I saw people today like everybody said Colton Miller's a reach, and he's been great. He's been good.
Yeah,
he's been okay.
Well, everyone said that Cleve Furl was a reach. He was.
Damon Arnett.
A lot of people looked at Damon Arnett as a reach. Hasn't played yet. A lot of people looked at John Abram as kind of a limited guy. He has been. So. Colton Miller, congrats. It has worked out, but there's been a lot of guys where we shake our heads. I wanted to ask you about the rest of the draft. Dave, your opinion on the Patriots getting Mac Jones. We shredded Mac Jones being the number 3 pick. He goes 15. Belichick doesn't have to move up. He didn't want to. So what are the chances Jones actually can take the first snap this year?
I don't think he'll take the first snap, but he'll probably be in action soon enough. I don't know. I'm not as high on Jones as others were. There seems to be a lot of mixed opinion on him. I don't like his feet, to be honest with you. But he's got a good arm. He's accurate, and he's with a pretty good coach. So, and Belichick knows more about the NFL and football than I do. I can guarantee you that. So, if Belichick likes him, that's and you can flip the other side of that is he's drafted other quarterbacks and they haven't worked out real well. So. I don't know. I'll stick with my opinion, and I'll probably end up being wrong.
I don't know if you will be. Adam, what do you think?
I think to not give up anything to get him is pretty nice for the Patriots. Yeah. I think a lot of people thought they might trade up and try to give up something for him. I'll also say this goes even more importantly with their second-round pick, which I loved. Christian Barmore, there was some character question marks about. And that's why he fell out of the first round. But the Patriots took him. And people were like, oh, taking a chance, character issue potentially. Well, I will promise you that Bill Belichick has talked very often with Nick Saban. And Saban must have given him his endorsement in order to take him. That happened. He wouldn't, they're close. He wouldn't have said, oh, you know what, I'm going to go with my instinct on this one. I'm not going to call Nick. And I'm sure Saban has a relationship with him where he's honest. And I'm sure he vouched for Barmore. I'm sure he vouched for Mac Jones.
All right, so going back to Dave's original point about Leatherwood played at Alabama, does Saban's word not count with the Raiders crew? Right? If it counts for Belichick and we're like, hey, trust in Saban, Belichick made good picks, why isn't Leatherwood? I understand the value part. But if Saban said, hey, Leatherwood's good, pick him.
Well, what I'm saying is I think Belichick has a different relationship with Saban than everybody else does. Is what I'm saying. Is that I think they're close enough that he's going to be honest with him. And I don't know what, how close Mayock and Saban are, or how close Gruden and Saban are, but I know that Belichick and Saban are very close. And, I think that there's different ways that you talk with people that you're closer or have better relationship with or trust better.
I assume Dabo Swinney hates Urban Meyer. Travis Etienne, you drafted a 3rd round back with your second first-round pick. Good job, Jags. What was that?
Well, I would never take a running back in the first 3 rounds probably anyway. So
I think
bad personnel.
Did Lawrence make the pick for them? It was part of the deal. We'll make you the number 1 pick, and you also get to choose the number 1 pick.
I actually saw an interview. He said he didn't know.
Well, I was just making that up.
No, I know. You're joking, but I mean, like I kind of thought the same thing at the same time that they were talking to him and like, hey, what do you think about your guy? And he said he didn't know, and he said, he got a text that he should turn on the TV when he actually got picked, but he didn't know that it was coming up. So
I'm sure Lawrence is pretty happy about it.
Oh my God,
why not?
Yeah. Well,
Look, there's something to be said for this, and this. I understand, all the running backs shouldn't be taken that high, but maybe the Jaguars looking at it and say, look, these 2 guys get along great. We're going to have tremendous chemistry from day one, and chemistry is a big deal in the NFL. So maybe that entered into the thought process, and I can't knock them on that.
Well, in fairness, the Jaguars, how would they know that you can just find a running back anywhere? How could they possibly know that? A year after they got one of the best rookies in the league, undrafted.
But what I'm saying is,
no.
It's maybe they looked at it and said, there's better, more valuable guys out there in terms of this draft selection. But boy, he's really going to mesh with Lawrence. And that's something that's going to be galvanizing for the whole clubhouse. Maybe they're looking at it that way.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. We saw.
I think it has to be part of it.
And by the way, Urban Meyer, college guy, probably values that even more than other people. So yeah, that would make sense. And we've seen other teams do this. How many college connections did we see happen this year with the Bengals? Like, okay, we'll go get your guy from college. You guys worked really well together. Maybe that'll work in the NFL too, with giving Jamar Chase to Joe Burrow. We saw that in a couple different spots. Yeah, believe me, I'm one. I was pissed.
Are you?
Yeah, I was pissed.
So one other story on the draft. Well, we can do lots of stories, but what's more likely, that the Bears just nailed it with Justin Fields, or that the Niners, the Jets, the Panthers, and the Broncos were all right in passing on Fields?
Well, I'll just say this. Given the Bears' history with quarterbacks, they probably got it wrong. I mean, that's all I can go by. Is they've just been so bad. There's been nobody worse. If you go back decades, they got lucky with McMahon. That's it. I mean, the last real good quarterback they had, other than that, I think was Bobby Wade, and he was okay. And that's like forever ago. There's nobody who's been worse at evaluating quarterbacks than the Bears, and that even includes John Elway, who is awful at evaluating quarterbacks. So. I mean, based on that, no, Cleveland hasn't been worse. They got the guy they got now, is better than anything Chicago's had since McMahon. He is. I mean, I'm not saying Mayfield's great, but he's okay.
Brian Sipe was a good quarterback, and Bernie Kosar, had he been with the Bears, was probably better than McMahon.
Yeah.
It was short-lived, but Bernie Kosar was good.
Yeah, Browns have had some decent quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's not. They've had some horrible choices as well. Tim Couch comes to mind, but no, you can't find anybody who's done worse with quarterbacks than the Bears.
That's interesting. I'll have to look it up. 4th quarterback draft in the last 10 years, 0 worked out. All right, maybe.
And all I'll say is this: he dropped for a reason. I mean, the NFL scouts don't get it right all the time. They get it right more often than I do. The
hell's going on?
I have no idea what that is.
That was my fault. Sorry.
Oh, okay. But in any event,
I was sending Steve 2 videos that I really need to play.
Oh, okay. All right.
Bottom line is Fields dropped pretty big time. But let's also remember that the quarterback we've talked about the most on this show, also dropped quite a bit in his draft year. And he's worked out pretty
Rodgers,
well.
Rodgers, yeah, for sure.
So,
And I listen. I haven't been able to find anybody that confirmed it or talked about it. I absolutely think Justin Fields, the epilepsy thing, really came into play. Like, it came out right before the draft.
Yeah.
And, we heard a lot of people kind of dismiss it as a possibility. But I think if you're investing in a franchise quarterback,
I know.
you're dissecting every little detail about him. And I think that definitely came into play on some level.
I would 100% agree with that.
I believe in Justin Fields. I'm very happy that the Bears traded up because it's one of the things I got right in the mock draft, which made me very happy to call that one. But yeah, I think, listen, credit to them. Like you were mentioning it, but if you go through their history of quarterbacks, it's been a disaster. And like Jay Cutler is probably the best quarterback in franchise history, which is crazy. So you got to take a chance there, and I think. Listen, they didn't have to give up a whole lot. They waited. I thought they could trade up even higher. I thought they might trade up all the way to 4 even or look at 7, but they waited. He fell a little bit, and they didn't have to give up too much to go get him. So I think it's an aggressive play, but I like the aggression. I mean, obviously, Andy Dalton is not the franchise quarterback of the future. And so you've got him that he's serviceable for this year if you're trying to develop Fields, and I do think Fields is pretty good. All right, so this is absolutely – I think Steve's seen this before. I don't know if Dave has.
Of course. I was like, when you sent it, I was like, why is this the wrong video?
No, this is –
Is this Mac Jones?
I think I've laughed more at this video than any other video ever on the internet. I've watched it probably 1 million times.
Okay.
And we saw a reenactment last night, but I wanted to get this one fresh in people's minds.
You're gonna set it up. All right.
So one of these kids is clearly uncomfortable with this situation, Dave.
Right.
I don't know if you can guess which one.
Not great at the dabbing. Okay, let's give it a try. Oops, let me hit the right start button. Okay. All right. Got the kids dabbing. Dab.
Good job, bro. Go play.
I might have to play it over again. It's freezing up.
Oh, Theo killed the one. Max up. No, you almost fell. Go ahead, Max. Go ahead. Oh, Lord have mercy.
I love that did the guy say, "Oh, Lord have mercy"?
Yes.
That's the little white kid was like, eh. Okay.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
I know he didn't get it. All right. Has anyone done a follow up on this kid? I mean, it's 4 years.
I would love to. I would love to know where the kid is and find him.
All right.
But there was somebody that maybe looked just as uncomfortable in a similar group setting last night. And
give us a clue.
I sent you the video.
I have it. I know.
Okay. One of the players drafted last night was in a similarly made up group.
Oh no.
And he basically was that kid.
Please tell me it was not Mac Jones.
Worse for you.
Oh, really? Well, here we go.
Good Lord. I'm looking at the list of quarterbacks drafted 4th.
Yeah.
That Rick sent. Jeez. That is one ugly list.
Yeah.
How bad is it?
Love, Locke, Rosen, Kaiser, Hackenberg, Mannion, Carr. Carr's the star in that bunch.
Yeah.
Barkley, Whedon, Ponder, McCoy, White, Henney, Beck, Clemens. Jesus.
Oh my God.
That's awful. Carr's a Hall of Famer in that group.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, here we go. I mean, come on, dude. He's from BYU. He's not going to be freaking. He's not going to be cool.
Okay, you don't want to read too much into them. Okay, we'll watch it first.
Draft Countdown is presented by ZipRecruiter.
Wow, he really does look uncomfortable. And he's going to New York.
Right.
Why is he so? we're fucked.
Way Ohio.
He ain't ready, Steve.
I know. I didn't want him. I didn't want him. I had so many people text me. They're like, "Are you excited?" I'm like, "No, not really." I'm like, I got dumped at the altar by Trevor Lawrence because stupid Adam Gase had to win a couple of games. Like, I was not that fired up about it, Zach Wilson. But I keep hearing that Zach Wilson, the arm talent, the wow factor, that he's not that far behind Lawrence. So I don't know.
Well, my attitude, for what it's worth, and this is not a new opinion from me. It's the one I've had all along. I said coming out of last college season that there was only one surefire star quarterback in the draft, and it's Lawrence.
Yeah.
Now, I admittedly did not know a lot about Trey Lance. And Lance, he really does look like he has the it factor.
Right.
He really does. I got a feeling that that's going to be a good pick. I don't know on Wilson. He might be, he might not be. He might be a colossal bust.
Jesus Christ.
But you can say that about all the other quarterbacks drafted. You can say that about as well, except for Lawrence, and I suspect Lance.
I would say that I thought. I mean, obviously, everybody's blown away by Wilson's arm. I mean, it's
He's got a hell of an arm.
If I would have seen that video before the draft, I would have said, "Don't draft him." He's terrified of being around anyone. It looks like he's never stepped out of his element before. Like, you're gonna kind of have to do that as an NFL quarterback. I feel like it's not good.
Yeah, this was funny that ESPN made a big deal of Zach Wilson and his family, and they're like his grandparents have 36 grandchildren, and as I'm watching, I'm like, and he's from fucking Utah. Like, what? Like, are we not? I mean, it really does show the lack of exposure that people in the Midwest, the South, and the East have to the West and to Mormonism and Utah. Like, I seriously, when I heard it, I was like, okay, really? That's it? 36? Okay. So
it will be really interesting to see how he plays in mentally in the Big Apple, because there's no question about his skills.
Yeah,
he's got him. But man, and you talk about culture shock. You're going from Provo to Gotham.
I mean, Joe Douglas has been there. Robert Saleh can't be that stupid, right? Where he's like, is Saleh gonna look up next year and be like, oh man, this is a whole different ball of wax in New York? Like, he's got to know it.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing though. I mean, and this will be one of those immediate judgment things. If Trey Lance goes out there and lights it up in his first year, boy, oh boy, the Jets are they're just going to get such a ration of shit.
Yep.
Are we worried about Trevor Lawrence in the future because his dad can't, claim his own space on the couch? You see that photo too?
I don't know what was happening.
It's just everybody kind of at Trevor Lawrence's house. Everybody was kind of relaxing, having a good time, spread out, and waiting for the pick to be announced. And like his dad gets no space on the couch. He's not even allowed to spread out at all. I'll show it on my phone. You don't have to call it up if you can see this, but
yeah,
can you like his dad has no leg room.
That is a good point. Who's next to the dad? Like, you really got to cross your legs and go closer to him and squeeze him on the couch?
Yeah, can we give the guy a little bit of room?
By the way, how big is his dad? I mean, obviously his dad's gonna be heavier than his dad, like 6'9".
He looks like he's a big guy.
That he's that squeezed in, you're saying?
Right? Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence. That's a large human being, right?
Right. Trevor Lawrence is 6'5".
I got a feeling he might be squeezed in wherever he sits. That's a big dude.
Poor guy.
Does anyone want to?
He's not poor anymore. If he was.
This thing we do. Does anyone want to tell him he's going to Jersey, not New York? It's the same fucking thing. Trust me.
They're kind of next to each other.
They're,
you just drive across the bridge and you're in New Jersey.
And there's a good chance as a rookie he might not know any better, and he might live in New York City too.
He's going to live in New York City.
Well,
I would think so.
Not a good move.
He might turn out to be great.
He might.
You got to get him if you get him an all-white team, I think it'll be even better.
I don't think the Jets can't execute that.
No, I don't think any NFL team can.
I will say for a number 2 pick, that may have been as strong as Kuiper has been in 15 years in the draft, where the Jets take Zach Wilson and Kuiper immediately goes into like 5 minutes of stumping for Sam Darnold. I was like, all right, I guess this pick sucks. Like, it was completely deflating. He's like, I had Darnold ready to hire. You could have had Darnold and Jalen Waddle. I'm like, I don't get it. I'm like, okay, great.
Not in total disagreement with him.
I know.
I think Sam Darnold's going to be a decent NFL quarterback, maybe in the Derek Carr range eventually. Again, that's not elite, but it's good. I think the skill set's there for Donald, and I think that he's been hamstrung by the fact that been with an organization that had no idea what it was doing the last few years. None. They couldn't even lose when they were supposed to lose.
Oh boy, here come the jokes. Here come the jokes. Oh boy.
Darnold is not, substantially older than Wilson either.
No,
He's 23 years old.
Yeah.
23.
No. Donald. Does anybody really think Donald's going to be a total bust? This guy's going to.
No.
I'd bet money he's going to be a good starting quarterback. Not maybe not
that,
great, but good someplace.
With those offensive minds,
Is this too strong that the Chiefs would not make the playoffs with Gase as the head coach?
Probably right.
I mean, it's like,
Well, it matters a lot in the NFL. That head coaching position in the NFL is really important.
he would make Mahomes into like a read option guy. Like, I like your mobility.
He'd start Chad Henne.
My God. The BYU, the Mormon jokes, the Zach Wilson jokes are all coming. I was laughing, having a grand old time.
Well,
This thing.
the 2 nights a year they're on Thursday night and Monday Night Football. He can play. He'll be all right.
But he's not going to be able to play Sundays?
No,
I think he'll be playing.
Yes. Imagine.
I'll take a shot on that.
He pulls a shocker. Guys, I didn't tell you, but Sundays are out.
thanks for the cheese. I'm out.
All right, Dave. We're gonna let Adam go, and I'm gonna let you go. We'll go a little shorter tonight. I appreciate everyone coming in. Thanks to the audience. Dave, you got any winners tomorrow? Anything on baseball?
No, I haven't finished it yet. I only got through part 1, and then we had to do the show. So,
we should mention though, you've been studying up for football. Have you got any final thoughts on football tomorrow?
There isn't any, but the Sunday there is.
Sorry. Oops, sorry.
I think South Dakota State should handle Southern Illinois. It's a big number. It's the only big number. The other games are really close, but Southern Illinois got murdered by this team in the regular season, and they can't stop the run, and that's what South Dakota State likes to do. And if they get out early, I think they're just going to kill them. So I laid 15 and a half there, and we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Adam, thanks for coming in. I know you've been busy. So what do you got going on tomorrow for coverage? Anything?
We'll be at the South Point live, 9 a.m. People want to come down. We can just hang around. Well, you never know. We can pick.
I have UNLV.
Anybody got anybody got a Derby pick?
Oh yeah.
Oh, what?
Derby. Have you gotten any good information?
No.
Well, I just asked. I don't know.
I know. No. I think I feel bad because I made the joke the other day when Brian Blessing was on with us breaking it down, and I was just like, "How many more of these are there going to be? Come on." I feel like there's like no buzz ever around it anymore. But yeah, I have not heard anything from any. I mean, I've been very draft focused this week, but haven't heard anything.
I don't have time for it, and besides which, I never win the Derby anyway. So
yeah,
I'll steal a pick from somebody.
To Brady's question. As soon as the draft is wrapped up tomorrow and we finish all of our last shows and videos and stories, I will be covering the UFC event at the Apex.
I'll give you a horse. I don't know what the odds are right now. Hot Rod Charlie.
Cool name.
Is it a real horse?
It is a real horse. Okay. And I don't think he's dropped out in the last 6 hours. But we had Dick Girardi on, who's been writing in Philly forever today. We had him at 4:45, and that was his recommendation. So that's what I got for you.
What's the name of the horse again?
Hot Rod Charlie. He was 8-1 earlier. Actually, Girardi told us pretty interesting. Mattress Mac actually bet a horse and is using the horse as his promotion for his latest furniture deal at his Houston Houston furniture store.
That's not a restaurant.
So he took the favorite. So the favorite is Essential Quality, and as of like 6 hours ago, I think early in the day, Essential Quality had been like plus 250, and it had gone to minus 125. So Girardi's like, hey, you know what? I don't like Essential Quality. He's part of this promotion, so this guy's put a bunch of money on him, so the rest of us actually get the benefit, and we get better odds on this horse. So
that's the idea. And horse racing is all about value. So,
yep.
Okay.
There it is.
Hot Rod Charlie, it is.
Yep. That actually was
until somebody talks me off it tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And that was actually